everybody. It is 10 o'clock and we'll get started. Welcome to the County Commissioners Special Meeting Agenda for November 19th, 2021. Thank you for being here on such short notice. We do have that 5 days statutorily, and so we'll get this finished before the Thanksgiving holiday. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and Commissioner Rivera.
Here.
Commissioner Richardson not yet in attendance. Commissioner Gosar is here. Would you stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item 3, public hearing. There is none. Item 4, comments from the public. Are there any comments from the public? Seeing none online, I don't see any. Last call for public comments. Commissioner Rivera, I'd entertain a motion to close the public comment period.
I move that we close the public comment period.
Second, just moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 5, disclosures. Commissioner Rivera, any disclosures?
I have none.
And I have none. Item 6, consideration of changes on the agenda. Jennifer or Jackie, any changes on the agenda? Kayla, anything?
No, thank you.
Item 7, interview candidates for Albany County Assessor. Well, we drew lots previously, and it looks like Chelsea, Tim, Dave will be that order for us today. I'm really hopeful that Commissioner Richardson will join us because
He's right here.
yeah, we should have 3. Oh,
no.
Sorry about that.
It was worth it to shake your hand.
You were all good. I was gonna say, I'll pull up too, yeah.
No.
I got it, go ahead.
That's okay.
Start soaking.
Down.
I know. It's dark. Dark it is.
And just to let you guys know that the microphones over the top are pretty sensitive. And so any sidebar conversations will probably be picked up and then they'll live forever on YouTube. And, you know, so just to let you know how this room works now with our AV professionals. So. Any disclosures, Commissioner Richardson?
None for me.
Okay. We drew lots before, so it'll be Chelsea, Tim, and then David.
Okay.
So what we'll ask you to do, when it's not your turn, if you would go sit out in the foyer in front of the sheriff's office here. We'll ask a person the questions. We'll bring the next person in, and we'll rotate till everybody's had the questions. We will be asking the same questions of all of you. And then today we'll go into executive session and we'll have a decision today, most likely. So thank you all.
Do you want the door open or closed?
Do we close the door?
Yeah, we can just leave it as open. I'll grab the sign and I'll.
Okay, Christina.
And Chelsea, wherever you'd like to sit, to be comfortable is fine. If you'd like to stand, you can do that also.
You want me to bring the podium up?
Would you prefer the podium or no?
Sure.
Okay, super. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you. You're just getting your work out this thing.
I already did, but I'm getting it twice.
Commissioners, do you want to ask all 3 of your questions at a time, or do you want to go one?
Let's do like we've done before, rotate.
Okay.
That's what I prefer.
And 3 questions apiece, is that?
Unless,
Sure.
unless one of you two have the same or very similar questions.
Well, I have 6, so
I have 4.
we should not list it.
It'll turn out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, Chelsea, welcome to this interview. We'll start with Commissioner Rivera, Commissioner Richardson, and we'll just bring around the table. Commissioner Richardson, or Commissioner Rivera, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Chelsea, among many responsibilities, this position requires directing the department and supervising staff. Can you please speak to your specific experience in managing, training, and evaluating staff?
Yeah. Do you guys mind if I pull this down?
No,
so I
no.
answer? Can't speak well. On my face. So my specific experience has been with the Albany County Assessor's Office. I have been the deputy since 2016. And when I moved into that role, I really oversaw the whole department. Prior to that, I was the field supervisor and I would manage 3 staff. And prior to that, I was the front office supervisor, so I only managed 1 other person. That has been the majority of my experience. I've conducted employee evals. Over the past 2 years, I've been a part of that whole process. That about covers my experience.
And have you had any experience with training staff?
Training, yes, I've trained the entire staff.
Thank you.
Commissioner Richardson, please.
I want to ask you how familiar you are with the statutes that establish the assessor position and, you know, the assessor's office, right? The elected official position. And what you and your ability to execute it.
So it's Title 39 that covers the majority of the assessor's office duties. I read that book from front to back. I'm not going to say I have it memorized, but I did, you know, make little footnotes and I'm very familiar with it. The Department of Revenue has put out some chapters of rules and regulations that guide us on how to do the whole valuation process. And I am very familiar with those rules and I know exactly what is regulated and how to do the job. Chapter 14 is the exemption. I do know that pretty well. However, I have had to seek help with the county attorneys just for some interpretation, and I feel like that is sometimes required.
Right. Chelsea, a citizen of Albany County disagrees with the assessment of their property. Please take me through the steps you would take to resolve this dispute.
Sure. So over the years, I have learned that if an upset taxpayer comes in, that really you need to actively listen to what their concerns are. You need to be sympathetic and you really need to let them voice what their issue is. Once that has happened and they're at a place where maybe they're ready to see how that process works, then I like to sit down with them and explain to them exactly how and why their property is valued the way that it is. And then at that point, I would open up the conversation to any questions that they have, any concerns that they still have, and then try to adjust those concerns on a specific property basis. You know, that might be sending the field team out to do an inspection. That might be, you know, looking at topography maps to see if the lot is even buildable, things like that. But I really like to take the opportunity to educate the taxpayers so that they can see how and why we do the job the way that we do it.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Chelsea, can you speak to your experience in preparing and overseeing a budget?
Yes. I have helped with that process for the Albany County Assessor's Office over the past couple of years. I really, probably the biggest part of our budget is the staff, right? The rest of it, all of our software, our computer systems and all of that are paid for by the state because it's the same software and the same system that's used statewide. So the Department of Revenue pays for all of that. And so our budget, other than office supplies and our vehicle maintenance, is pretty straightforward. But I have prepared that and presented it several years now.
Thank you.
Do you think that it's legal appropriate for an assessor to negotiate an assessment with a taxpayer who's protesting?
No and no. I don't, it's not legal and it's not appropriate to negotiate. We have a process for that. However, if there are concerns and there are things that our office needs to take into account, I'm more than happy to do that, but I need physical eyes on it and I need supporting documentation. If they're saying there's an issue with their well and their septic, I need to know how much it's actually going to cost to cure those issues. And I can make adjustments from that.
So adjustments based on errors or lack of complete information. That's different than negotiating.
Right. Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea, please describe your vision for the Albany County Assessor's Office and detail a few changes you would like to see made.
Sure. I have two main focuses right now on changes that I would like to see. The first one, I'm trying to figure out a way to notify property owners when our field team will be reviewing properties, when and where, basically. We are required by state statute to physically review every property in the county every 6 years. And then right now, we have when and where we are located posted on our website, but the public doesn't necessarily know that. I really am trying to figure out a way to get the public notified of when and where we are coming, so that they have a heads up, because I feel like us just showing up, knocking on your door can feel a little invasive, and I know I would want to be notified if someone is coming to inspect my house. So some of those options are that I've kicked around is maybe putting it in the Boomerang community calendar, reaching out to Laramie Live. I don't know if it's appropriate, but reaching out to Christina to see if we can post it on the Albany County Government Facebook page. It's really just not plausible for us to make phone calls to everybody. That would be really time consuming, and we don't have everybody's phone number. And I feel like mailing letters would be cost efficient. So I'm trying to figure out the best route to notify the public of that. Another project that I would like to see is, right now I'm trying to clean up the data, but I want to make sure I have accurate data on every person in Albany County as far as the amenities that they have. So, you know, do you have a well? Are you hauling water? Do you have city water? Do you have a septic system? Or are you using an outhouse? I want to make sure I have all of those type of amenities accurate in a system so that I can see a property that has full amenities, how much more that would sell for, I'm assuming it would sell for more, than a property that has zero amenities. And so that I can do some type of market analysis to make those adjustments accordingly. It's a big project, but it's something that I feel like really needs to be done.
Thanks, Chelsea.
My last question to you, Chelsea, is what do you believe are some of the crucial characteristics and skills one should possess when holding a position such as county assessor that deals with the public a great amount of time?
Characteristics and
Skills.
I feel like you need to be comfortable having hard conversations with the public. I try to live by being humble and kind, and I feel like that applies both professionally and personally. I want to make sure everyone is paying their fair share of taxes. I don't want to overtax anyone, and I don't want to undertax anyone, and that's really how the system has to work. Otherwise, it'll fail. Skills, I feel like you need to be mathematically inclined. You are analyzing statistical data. I also feel like you need to be able to interpret statutes. You need to be able to attend classes to get state certified. And I also feel like you need to be able to admit hey, maybe I'm not an expert in this area and I need to do research. I need to reach out to the county attorney. I need to reach out to the Department of Revenue because I've never seen this before. So let's figure it out and move forward.
How familiar are you with the Board of Equalization process? And how prepared are you to defend your assessments at a Board of Equalization?
I'm pretty familiar with that process. I have prepared the evidence for past County Board of Equalization hearings for several years now. I have worked with the county attorneys on preparing for the stand. I've never actually sat on the stand, but I'm comfortable doing that. And I honestly think that the hearings are a really great time to educate the public on how we do the job. And that's kind of how I look at it.
Last one is, Chelsea, please describe what you learned from a recent experience that you had when you fell short of your own expectations. You don't have to describe the experience, just what you learned.
That's kind of what I talked about earlier, that it's okay to reach out to other departments or to an expert that's in that field. There's no shame in asking questions and learning from the experience and just building on that. I really feel like failures are opportunities to learn and move forward.
All right, commissioners, Chelsea, thank you so very much. The process is we'll come, those other two gentlemen will come in, we'll do the same interviewing process, then we'll go into executive session and we should have a decision by this morning, I'm guessing, maybe this afternoon. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
for
guys.
willing to put your name in the hat.
Yes, thank you guys for your time.
Tim, next.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Tim, wherever you'd like to be is fine. We can pick up your sound anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The process is we'll start with Commissioner Rivera, go to Commissioner Richardson, and we'll just go around the horn here. Three questions apiece, and then we'll go from there. Commissioner Rivera, please.
Thanks, Tim, for putting your hat into it. My first question is, among many responsibilities this position requires, directing a department and supervising staff. Can you please speak to your specific experience in managing, training, and evaluating a staff?
And I don't even know if this formality needs to be here. I'm here to support Chelsea. I just put my name in so that Democrats would have to read. That's where I'm at. So I mean, I can answer the question, but I don't want the job.
Do you want to speak to why you support her and all, just not waste your time?
I think she's been doing the job for the last 10 years or whatever. Grant hasn't been doing the job, so I think she's got the most experience. She knows what she's doing. I've worked with Chelsea over the years. Grant was difficult to work with, and Chelsea's not. Chelsea will take the job, and she's already made it her own, but I think that works for the job.
All right. Well, that makes this one faster, you know?
Right.
Thanks for taking time out of your day, Tim. Thank you.
I'm glad to see you, Tim,
You too.
even though you made me spill my coffee.
Yeah. I've got this gravity thing going.
No, it was all my fault.
See you.
Can't switch hands.
Work this morning.
Alyssa, move right along then.
Where would you like?
Wherever you'd like to be. If you'd like to sit, if you'd like to stand.
Or I can move the podium and you can bring a chair.
I can sit here and stand as necessary.
Okay, super.
Just trying, listen.
Just give me a little weight.
Well, you're the final interviewee today, obviously. What we'll do, as far as bounce from Commissioner Ibarra to Commissioner Richardson to me, each of us have 3 questions. You have as long as you'd like to answer those questions. And then once that's finished, we'll go into an executive session. Hopefully come out with a name, and then we'll know that name hopefully by mid-morning, early afternoon at the latest. So Commissioner Ibarra?
Yeah, would you prefer to be called Dr. Meyer, David?
David
No,
works.
a preference.
David's fine.
Okay, thank you for.
Dave even is, usually my father was angry at me when he called me David, so Dave is a little better.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, among many responsibilities, this position requires directing a department and supervising staff. Can you please speak to your specific experience in managing, training, and evaluating a staff?
I helped co-found a very successful company. I was the chief technical officer for that company, and that was precisely my duty, as a matter of fact. I had 4 people under me. We wrote a piece of software, a commercial piece of software. The company was in business from, well, let's see here, 1989 until 2006, when it was bought. So I do have experience in that area. And in academics, one of the things you are basically is a small businessman. You're responsible for getting grants, supervising graduate students. I have a research group of about 6, 7 graduate students in Colorado and elsewhere. And so it's all a technical management endeavor, actually. I think I have a lot of experience.
Thank you.
Dave, have you read the statutes that, in the state statutes that create the assessor position, and how familiar are you with them? You have a vision in your mind of how you might execute.
Kind of familiar with them. I've done more reading in the DOR regs, which I thought at the time was more relevant to being a petitioner on the appeal that I filed. My vision for the office, I'm here to help. I up here, I got a lot out of Albany County and Laramie and University, and when I retired, I couldn't find anything. I'm just offering my services because when I did the data analysis for my appeal, I saw some things that really concerned me. And I think that if they're allowed to continue, they're going to create an explosive situation down the line. And my interest in doing this, I don't have any interest in being the Albany County Assessor as a career. I just like to be in there for one cycle and just help the department mostly up its analytical game. Course correct some of what I see going on. And so that's mostly my vision. I think, I'm sure if I read the statutes, what they'd say is the purpose is to fairly assess the property, reach an equitable assessment and a correct one. And that's where my interest lies. Bringing the expertise to the office and in the game of everyone to make sure that happens.
Sure.
Okay. If a citizen of Albany County disagrees with the assessment of their property, please take me through the steps you would take to resolve this dispute.
I've been on the other end of that. So the first thing I'd like to do is go out and visit with them. I think when they appeal, that's a serious enough situation that it requires some personal attention to go out there and visit. And Then from there, I think that the next responsibility is to take a careful, go back and take a careful look. The knee jerk to just defend your assessment, I think, is a mistake. If the office is fallible, it can make mistakes. So my next step would be to go back and do some of this enhanced analytics that I'm talking about, and just see if there's any merit to what's going on. And then, of course, have a one-on-one, some meeting of the minds. And that would be the basic procedure I would do. And I think it would work in 99.9% of the cases. That's
All right, thank you.
My second question is, what experience do you have in preparing and overseeing a budget?
oh, yeah. So again, back to being a professor, that's your life is preparing and overseeing budgets. You do that when you submit proposals, grant applications. You do that day to day when you manage salaries, buy equipment. In the corporation, I was disconnected from the financial picture, so I didn't have a responsibility there as the technical. But in the act of being a professor, especially at a research one university, you're required to, the university counts on you to bring in grants because they've made the mistake of factoring in the overhead on those grants they're operating. So, you know, it's a fair amount, I guess is the short answer to your question, a fair amount of that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Do you think it's appropriate or legal to negotiate with a taxpayer who has filed a protest of their assessment?
Legal, so you mean, for example, damages? Is that what you're saying? Or what do you?
Well, as an assessor, is it appropriate or legal to negotiate the assessment, you know, with a taxpayer who's filed a protest of their assessment?
You mean in lieu of any other analytics or data, just come in and we'll barter?
That's basically what I'm asking. Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not an attorney, I can't speak to legality, but that's not the way the system should function. You know, and so I'd be real hesitant to do that. I think that it'd be a last resort, I mean, an absolute last resort. Not something I prefer to do. I think if there's a legitimate basis for the appeal, there ought to be a way to see that in the numbers and the analytics and some meeting of the minds that doesn't involve just
Dave, please describe your vision for the Albany County Assessor's Office and detail a few changes that you would like to see made.
So I've already addressed that, I think, in passing. Again, I have no interest in having a career with the Albany County Assessor. Grant was in the office for 6 years prior to heading the department. He's been there 16 years, so it's been kind of the one long culture. And I think, again, based on what I saw, and I'd be happy to give you my elevator scheme of what I see in the data that concerns me. I think it would make sense in this cycle to just delay Chelsea's inevitable ascension to the head of the department by one election cycle. And get someone in there with the expertise, training, more technical training than that. To just help the department up its analytical game. One thing I'm concerned about is that Grant oversaw the CAMA era, right? All hail the CAMA, the computer exam. And what happened, and the state had a laudable goal, is they went out, the DOR went out, contracted for this piece of software, and then they pushed it down to the individual. That's seen in organizations when there's a big piece of software that's pushed down from Mount Olympus on high, that what tends to happen down in the lower levels of the organization is that the software tends to be sort of viewed as the Oracle at Delphi. And people get disempowered when that happens. They become, they lose their input into the process. They become just people who are dumping data into a big piece of software. And my vision, my intent would be to show them that they are actually active participants in this process, and that the software is fallible, that they need to understand what the software is doing, they need to be sophisticated users, and that there are simple software, cheap, easily available, that they can learn, be trained on, simple techniques, where they can do checks on what's coming out of the software to guarantee a more accurate assessment. And I understand, I've gone through the deal and across the grant, that the rejoinder to that concern is that, well, we're audited by the DOR, and it's true that the office is audited, but the audits are fairly superficial. They just concern sales data. They don't look at the massive data set to see what's going on, and the problems I see, you don't detect unless you look at a larger data set. And moreover, and most importantly, they're backward looking. So for example, if the assessor assesses a home in 2020, January 1st, 2020, at $500,000, and for whatever reason that home goes on the market and sells in 2020 for $400,000, that data comes to the assessor because the assessor gets all the data. And they say, oh, whoa, wait, 500,000, 400,000, and they'll do things they grant described on cross that I have problems with as well, to bring that assessment down. And then when the state comes in to do their audit, what they see is the 2021 value agrees with the 2020 sales data. It's backward looking. And so you can't miss. I mean, hindsight's 2020. And so I don't think the audits are enough to guarantee some fidelity in the need. And so again, part of my vision would be to up the analytical game of the department and what you're doing, so that there's more checking being done in lieu of the Department of Revenue's audit. Sure.
What do you believe are some of the crucial characteristics and skills one should possess when holding a position such as county assessor that deals with the public a great amount of time?
Humbleness. First of all, you're serving the public. So you need to be the one that's humble, that listens. And then the second thing, and whether I want to say this or not, one of the criticisms of the grant is that as I was dealing with him, I often got the feeling he was making it wrong. So I think along with humbleness, you have to be a straight shooter. You have to have your ducks in a row, and the story you present to people has to be consistent from A to Z. If you change course, if you say something you contradict later, it just ruins the trust. So those are the two primary things I think. Sure.
How familiar are you with Board of Equalization hearings, and how prepared would you be to defend your assessment?
More familiar than that. Yeah, again, I don't hate to turn it into, I know it's supposed to, it is by definition an adversarial process. But my knee-jerk isn't to defend data. I mean, as a scientist, for example, when you publish a paper and someone has a question about it, the knee-jerk response to correct isn't to just go, here's why I'm right. The knee-jerk response is to listen and understand the concerns and see, because often it's just. So bottom line, I'm very familiar. I ended up having to get Nicholas involved in my cap and the deal, and Phil and I have long talks about it. So I think I've got a pretty good understanding, and I'd be prepared to go to an equalization hearing. If it came to that, I do a good job. Again, the key, key is your story needs to be consistent from square one to the end. And if it's consistent, then I think people who are appealing their assessment get the idea that there may be a disagreement, but they've been treated absolutely square. And that's what's crucial.
So my final question, Dave, is please describe what you learned from a recent experience that you had when you fell short of your own expectations.
Ask that again.
Please describe what you learned from a recent experience or any experience that you had when you fell short of your own expectations.
Think about that. So in the career area, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I'm having trouble figuring out a time when I did fall short. Interesting question. Very interesting question. I mean, I guess as someone who does research and high-level mathematics topics, I guess actually you fall short of your own expectations every day, really. I mean, because you go in, you say, I want to prove this theorem or something, like I have this conjecture, I'd like to know whether it's true or false, and the sun comes up, and at the end of the day, you're no closer to resolving that. It's complicated stuff, and you can get sidetracked, you can go down alleyways that lead nowhere, and you can do that for weeks. And in the end, you may just end up giving up. So one of the things I've learned, I guess, from that is just simple perseverance. You don't succeed, try again, basically, is the lesson I take away from that.
Well, thank you for taking your time, not only here today, but also going through the process of the Democratic Party. What we'll do is we'll meet as an executive in the executive session, and then we'll have an opportunity to release the name. But thank you so much for your time and be willing to be engaged in this process. It's really important.
Like I said, I'm just here to help. I think Chelsea being at the head of the department's an inevitability. I just think that in the short run, a little fresh blood and new perspective would be in the county. I'm here to help.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
Do you want to come back when they make the accident? Do you want us to just let you know? Just let you know. Okay, I'll send you an email.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioners, anything before we head into executive session? Okay, item 8, executive session pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 16-4-405 AII. I'd entertain that motion.
I move that we exit regular session and move into executive session pursuant to Wyoming statute 16-405 A2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We leave regular session, enter executive session at 10:40.
I am.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Commissioners, I entertain a motion to leave executive session and return to regular session.
I move that we exit executive session, return to regular session.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing,
That's coming back.
hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Leaving executive session, entering regular session at 10:52. Nope, it's fine. We're in regular session. Item 11, action if needed regarding executive session. Commissioners, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve resolution 2021-031, resolution temporarily appointing Chelsea Matthews as the Albany County Assessor until a successor is elected at the next general election and takes office.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Congratulations, Chelsea. Thank you. And I believe the swearing is on Monday at 8:30.
That's correct.
Will that be amenable? Will your schedule make that, allow that, Chelsea?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Well, look forward to working with you in that capacity. Thank you so much for all your efforts previously. And so we'll see you on Monday at 8:30. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really
Chelsea.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's not sinking in yet. Maybe Monday.
Well, and I'd like to thank Mr. Meyer and Mr. Chestnut for being part of the process. And hopefully we won't have to do these anymore. So thank you all. Seeing no more business before the county commission on November 19th, 2021. I move to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all. Have a great Friday.
Don't cry.